Love always. L'amour, c'est l'amour.
Yeah.
Love is love.
Well, the feeling stays the same for sure, but in the society, I think it was not seen.
Yes,
like
I think the
same.
way to show love is different now than
Yeah.
it was, but it's still the same feeling, I think.
Yeah, it's still the same thing for sure.
Yeah, because
But like back in the days when, like a girl would be married to a guy that she didn't really love, but she has to, and then maybe because it was more practical to love that man, then she was going to like. They were more learning to love someone than like really feeling it at the first point. But,
c'est l'amour démocratique. See, nowadays you can choose the one you love. See,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
maybe back then here in Quebec, you would marry a guy because like you're 18 years old, you never had sex, and your grandmother says that you should marry this guy because he's a good one, and you should start having kids. Nowadays it's more like I'm 23 years old, and I bring girlfriends to my house, and my mother is like, you know, choose the one you love. You know, it's more.
Yeah.
I said love is more democratic.
Yeah. True.
50 years ago, people were probably more entitled to use the word, and probably when they were using it, they mean it more strongly. I don't know, that's my guess, right? And now I don't really use it that much. Only with a few people, and maybe I use it in a silly way. But in Spanish, for example, I don't really use it, right? Only to my parents, I think, and it sounds kind of awkward when I say it, because he's really strong, right? In Spanish, he's really strong. Like you cannot just love your car, or like love the hamburger, or love your sweater. You know, English, I think that it's really easy to use the word love for a lot of things. In Spanish, you cannot say it. So I think that in that way, the idea of the love word to me is really strong, right? So I don't really use it as much, and therefore I do think that in the past people probably had a different connotation towards it.
I really don't think it's changed much. I don't think the concept of love has changed much over history. When I read the Bible, for example, there are many very wonderful love stories in the scriptures. When I read that, and when I read the literature, whether it's religious or non-religious literature, you know, from our culture and from other cultures, I don't see what they're experiencing as being different than what has been all along, what that I have read in my lifetime. Yes, there are little variations here and little variations there, but essentially, you know, I read of the love that Jacob had for Rachel, or the love that David had for his friend Jonathan. I see both of those kinds of loves in the same kind of intensity today.
When I think of what I know about other times and other places, it seems as though the ways that we express love have changed, and the people between whom love is idealized has changed, but it seems like every society has still had some way of showing love or exploring love or discovering what love is. So I think our sort of Western, global northern understanding of love is very focused on sort of the couple as the ideal love is kind of between sort of a couple that's romantically involved, and in other times, you know, it's like some Greek philosophers may have thought that, you know, two male friends kind of idealized that, the ideal of what love or what friendship could look like. And so I think those things change. And
in a culture like West African culture, the most idealized bond of love is between a son and a son and his mother.
Yeah.
Like that's the ideal nucleus of love, not between a husband and wife.
Yeah.
Or between
a husband and wife is almost more of a social economic kind of arrangement, and
more of a social economic arrangement, And the real emotional sort of core of love will be between a son and his mother.
But it seems like every society still has something that they would say, this is what love looks like, and this is what ideal love looks like.
Yeah, I think the definition of love has changed throughout history and continues. It changes in every context. Like every time it's used in a different way.
If I go with my idea that love is personness, right? God, however you want to call it. If love is personness, well, a personness that never changes is rather flat, spiritless. So, of course, it's changing all the time.
My grandparents were pretty old school. Love was like by the book, right? Now it's we run away from that word. We don't want to use it right away. We don't want to say that too fast. We want it to count. We want it to be important. And before you would say that, and it would mean that. Not oh, maybe he loves me a bit. Maybe he loves me on the weekends. Maybe he loves me because I'm really cute. Love means everything. Your whole time, your whole money, your love.